stomach. Nothing. Start again. I'm sick to my stomach. Nothing. Start again. I'm sick to my stomach. Nothing.
Soccer? But it's really called football. Soccer? The creators called it football. Soccer? You know, you play it with your feet. Reading between the headlines. Soccer? But it's really called football. Soccer? Hello, football fans. Welcome back to Reading Between the Headlines. I'm Asaf Nasim, your host for another episode of Peruse the News, the live show where we catch up on the latest Chelsea news together, maybe some world football news as well, and of course, we live football and prosper as one should. Now, before we continue, if you are new to the channel, why not do me a favor and like that stream? Perhaps even more importantly, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell if you feel like knowing when we are live, because this channel, while so small, so tiny, growing all the time, so much potential, you might want to get in early. You might want to be that guy that's like, hey, I knew that channel before they even had 1,000 subscribers. That makes you the cool person. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So important. Oh, let me even show you. Look at that. Boom, boom, boom. How about that? We even have a graphic to encourage you further. That is my marketing scheme slash pitch. So there you go. On the docket for today, now that that's out of the way. Firstly, from the Daily Mail. The forgotten £200,000 a week footballer inside what life's like for Ben Chilwell, the last star standing of Chelsea's bomb squad, and what comes next. I honestly hate that bomb squad BS. Like, enough with the bomb squad, all right? It's not the bomb squad, okay? That's something else. The bomb squad either diffuses bombs or it's like a, I don't know, is that like an old movie or something? It's not, there's no bomb squad, okay? Next, Crystal Palace releases Trevor Chalobah's welcome interview. That was nice to see, and we will check it out together. Then, from ESPN, fans versus VAR. Norway's fight for football's future. A little dramatic, maybe, but I must say it is a fight, and we'll talk about what's going on over there. That's from ESPN, as I said. After that, from The Athletic, the greatest left back ever, that's just my opinion, is set to leave Birmingham and join the FA as a full-time coach. Okay, now then we will go over to the Daily Mail again and maybe check out that World Football or Premier League football, as you might want to be a little more specific, inside Newcastle's civil war and why losing Eddie Howe over it would be a disaster. I guess Chelsea is not the only team, club, dabbling in civil war. You could say. And lastly, from a dear friend of the channel, this was provided by Gabe C via goal.com. Chelsea fans urge club to sell Wesley Fofana after defender does a Lukaku. As a bonus, per usual, if we have any time, maybe we'll stalk some of our favorite Chelsea players' Instagrams. Woo! They'll never know what hit them. I swear it. They really will never know. But now, before we get into the first article, let's take a look at the last live stream's poll results. We like to throw a poll on every stream. So let's take a look at the results from the last stream's poll. I asked you, and I will put it up here. I asked you if it was a wise decision to sack Mauricio Pochettino, or should he have gotten more time? 71% of you said, no, he needed more time. 14% said, yes, sorry, not sorry. And another 14%, equal to that of the yes, sorry, not sorry. I don't know. LOL. So people are very opinionated in this regard, it seems, and but most of you think that no, Mauricio Pochettino should have gotten more time. Now, for today's poll, as I just mentioned, we like to put a poll up every stream. This poll, you can see it right there in the chat as I copy and paste it in. Boom. Is VAR, and it is in the spirit of one of the articles that we will be looking at, is VAR essential to the future of fairness in football? First option is yes, this is the way. Second option, no, go back to the way it was. Some people feel that way. And third, cut back, but keep some of it. Okay? That is the poll for today. Guys, make sure you go ahead. Oh, it's a little cut off, isn't it? Maybe I could fix that screen a little bit. I'll do that in a second, but let's just put that poll out there for now so it's ready to go. It's out there. It's happening. We're engaged. We're making it happen. And let's see how you folks, you good folks, fine fans, to be a little bit alliterative. Can you say alliterative? To use alliteration. How about that? Let's go with that. That's when you use a lot of consonants, a lot of the same consonant. Okay, that is out of the way. Oh, I said I was gonna fix that the chat screen. It looks like it is a little bit too small, so we're gonna take a look at that. Is it? No, you know what? It's probably fine. It's probably fine. If any of your chats are, you know what? Let's fix it actually. Because, no, it looks good.
Okay, it looks good. Maybe I cropped it too much. The ins and outs of being the producer and host of this show. It is not the easiest thing, but we will always work on making it better and better. Okay, you know what? I think it's totally fine. Okay. Boom, done. All right, we move on to the first topic. To the first article as explained in the preview. We go to the first article of the day, which is basically, as you saw in the title of today's show, Ben Chilwell stuck at Chelsea. And here the Daily Mail is reporting on it. The headline is the forgotten £200,000 a week footballer inside what life's like for Ben Chilwell, the last star standing of Chelsea's bomb squad, and what comes next, as we said earlier. England's left back for the Republic of Ireland was Levi Colwill, a central defender. For Finland, it was Rico Lewis, a right back. Ben Chilwell represented his country as recently as March, and yet even amid such a shortage, it has never been further from the Three Lions lineup. That is because Chilwell has not been training with Chelsea's first team, let alone playing in the Premier League as a 27-year-old Englishman who should be entering the prime of his career. Very sad, you have to say. Health is not the issue. Chile participated in the preseason tour of the United States, featuring in every training session and 2 fixtures after upholding his annual tradition of emerging triumphant in the club's running tests alongside Malo Gusto. He's a quick boy, apparently. Neither is his attitude. Last season's vice-captain throwing himself into ambassadorial work on that trip, such as when he visited the home of a Chelsea superfan called Bradley in Atlanta during his downtime. The problem is, like Raheem Sterling, he learned upon his return to London that he is not in Enzo Maresca's first-team plans. Hints had been dropped in the States, with Chelsea's new head coach name-checking every other left-back while discussing who suited his style of play with the assembled journalists in Santa Clara, but confirmation was no less crushing. The difference between Sterling and Chilwell now is one secured his switch, arguably an upgrade by joining Mikel Arteta. Oh, I take offense to that, Daily Mail. What do you mean arguably an upgrade? Don't argue. Don't argue that it's an upgrade. Just stick to the reporting, okay? Straight news, buddy. Straight news. Anyway, arguably an upgrade. Not on this channel, it isn't. By joining Mikel Arteta's title challengers at Arsenal, with Chelsea subsidizing his wages. Let me just double check my mic is working. Yeah, it is working. We're in business. With Chelsea, I don't even want to talk about this too much, but subsidizing his wages while the other remains as the forgotten footballer on a salary worth around £200,000 per week. Doesn't seem like great business for Chelsea to be paying more than half of Sterling's wages and to be paying all of Chilwell's wages and him not playing at all. Chelsea would prefer him, and by the way, we don't have a right back for this next Bournemouth fixture, do we? Chilwell would come in handy right now. Chelsea would prefer him playing for the next 4 months rather than perched in purgatory, but currently Chilwell is in line to stay, with sources saying yesterday he is not close to a switch to a country where the transfer window remains open. We've been talking about that. There are some countries where the transfer window is still open for a little bit longer, it will detail that a little bit in this article. That includes Turkey, where the rumor mill had Jose Mourinho bringing him to Fenerbahce after they sold their left back Ferdi Kadioglu to Brighton. So looks like they're in the market for a left back, but that hasn't been happening. Barring a dramatic change between now and Friday evening, when the Turkish window closes, Chilwell will remain at Cobham until January at least. Those close to Chilwell insist it makes no sense for him to go unused, explaining it is better to place, obviously they will, I mean, who wouldn't, that you're close to the kid, it is better to place your player in the shop window, right, rather than shove him in storage and ruin your chances of recouping anything close to £50 million you paid Leicester in August 2020. I don't know. I mean, I guess he'll be worth less. He'll be older. He'll have not played in a while, but he'll still be worth a pretty penny. He'll only be 28. He has plenty of Premier League experience, and everybody knows Ben Chilwell's quality. On the flip side of that, if you play him and he doesn't play well, the value could drop even more, right? I'm just being the devil's advocate. I love Chile. I want him to stay. I want him to play, actually, so far be it for me. to play too much of the devil's advocate, they also revealed how Chilwell had hoped he would be included in last week's Conference League squad, submitted to UEFA so he could get some modicum of game time, even if it came in the form of a December trip to Kazakhstan to face Astana, where temperatures can stoop so low that the climate freezes nose hairs. Beggars cannot be choosers. Well, maybe he would choose frozen nose hairs over not playing, but who wouldn't? But yeah, as we know, he was not included in that roster for the Conference League, and some other stars were left out, Cole Palmer, Wesley Fofana, Romeo Lavia, so they could manage their minutes, as it is said. Yet the squad, right, was confirmed for the Conference League's next stage, in which Chelsea plays six fixtures. And as I said, Chilwell was snubbed. Look at little Chile. Look at poor Chile playing in the preseason. Him over here thinking, oh, I'm going to play for Chelsea, and now he's not, unfortunately. This Friday, we'll see Chelsea reveal the 25-player squad they have submitted to the Premier League. At least 8 need to be homegrown, and Chilwell qualifies for that category, but Maresca has already insisted those training separately will remain sidelined under him. Will that change? Will something change his opinion? I mean, it probably helps Chilwell's case, given that Reece James and Malo Gusto were both injured right now, right? If I'm Ben Chilwell, I'm kind of like, okay, it's the silver lining with Reece James and Malo Gusto being injured, my buddies, is that possibly Enzo Maresca will feel under a little bit of pressure to name me in that 25-man Premier League squad, which is due this Friday. Yeah, this Friday, I guess, when the Turkish transfer window closes as well. If excluded as expected, that would leave the Carabao Cup as Chilwell's only hope for competitive football between now and the next window opening. League Two Barrow are due to visit Stamford Bridge in the third round of the competition in 2 weeks' time, and again, sources say Chilwell would be more than happy to feature if given the chance. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. If he's stuck here, we're paying him £200,000 a week, and he's awesome. Give him a chance. God damn it. It's not like we've been doing great defensively in the Conference League Cup, right? I mean, I don't know. That's just my opinion. Chelsea declined to share on Tuesday when quizzed on their plans for Chilwell, including who he is now training alongside at Cobham, given so many members of the club's so-called squad have departed from Trevoh Chalobah to Crystal Palace and Kepa Arrizabalaga to Bournemouth. Chilwell was offered to Premier League clubs in the summer, his name cropping up in conversations with Manchester United surrounding Jadon Sancho, but ending with the 24-year-old joining on his own loan with a no obligation to buy. With an obligation to buy, not a no obligation. There is an obligation to buy if Chelsea finish 14th or higher, I believe it is, which is, yeah. I mean, I don't want to jinx it or anything, but I think we'll be fine. Hope we'll be fine. That would be really bad. Brentford were also in the market for a left back, yet B's sources say Chilwell never made their shortlist as they eventually secured 18-year-old Jadon Megama from Southampton instead as competition for Rico Henry, and as they say, and as one would assume, £200,000 in wages have posed a problem in Chelsea's search for a potential buyer, along with the red flag of his injury record and enduring more setbacks than he would have liked. I think it's probably more the price tag, the wages. Known as Chile to all, affectionately to Chile as Chile. Chilwell is popular inside of Chelsea, one of the few who was at the club before the new owners took over in May 2022. I've already forgotten that, actually. He has been a mentor to the younger hopefuls. Maresca himself describes him as a lovely guy, though went on to warn how he will struggle to get back in under him. However it ends, it is an unfortunate turn of events for the left back who has 1235 tattooed beneath his left knee, signifying his pride at becoming the 1,235th player, if you didn't know that, random bit of trivia, to represent England. As the Three Lions took to the hallowed turf of Wembley last night, he can only have wondered when he might have that chance again. Yeah, he'll do it. I believe in you, Chile. I believe he'll do it. Well, that's that. I guess it looks like Chilwell is stuck at Chelsea. It looks like Chilwell probably won't get back into the squad. Maresca looks to be pretty solid on that. But again, maybe a small consolation and a small glimmer of hope lies in the fact that both Reece James and Malo Gusto are out. And I mean, Maresca's going to probably end up playing Caicedo at right back. At least that's what the Chelsea Chronicle was predicting. I almost pulled up their predictions, but whatever. We might do a stream tomorrow to preview the Bournemouth fixture. We'll see. I like to react to the preseason press conference, the pre-match press conference with Enzo Maresca. If he puts that out tomorrow, that would be nice. Then we'll probably do a stream and maybe cover a couple other pieces of news. But right. So, yep. If anything, maybe the situation, the injury situation, the fullback injury situation, to be more specific, is a slight glimmer of hope for Ben Chilwell. In the meantime, let's head on over to YouTube. I just wanted to fondly have a look at Trevor Chalobah, who I also think should be in the squad. Like, why is Tosin Adebayo and Benoit Badiashile, why are they ahead of Trevor Chalobah? I don't know. Maybe somebody else will tell me. Daniel Stock, I have no idea why Maresca would prefer Vega to Chile. Makes very little sense to me. I have to agree. Like, at the very least, I mean, I guess it depends on how many you put in the squad, but I just don't see how. I mean, Chilwell's he can really do both ends of the game. Like, he can attack, he can defend. He's obviously very quick. He can also sort of be used in a versatile manner if we're playing like a really tough team and you want to put an extra defensive sort of wing back type in the squad. But, you know, it doesn't make much sense to me either. I mean, especially if you're stuck with Chile, especially if like he's not going anywhere and we're paying the money. He kind of belongs in the squad, I would say. But let's head over to YouTube to see Trev Mate, as I like to refer to him. Let's see his Crystal Palace debut interview. My boy. He's just on loan. He's on loan. He might be back.
Trevor, welcome to Crystal Palace. Finally a chance for us to sit down and have a chat with you. What are your initial thoughts on joining the club?
Yeah, first I just want to say thanks, my Lord, my Saviour Jesus Christ, for this opportunity. And yeah, it's been good.
That's your opinion,
First few
Daniel
days
Stock.
It's been good around the boys.
It's newsworthy to me.
And yeah, they've welcomed me. And yeah,
It's
been a good
reaction worthy.
Good start, good atmosphere in the camp. Just tell us, do you know any of the,
Look how
the lads
majestic
a little
he
bit,
is.
maybe from previous times, or?
Yeah, I know Eddie well. We grew up together at Chelsea in the younger age group, so I've been close with him ever since. I know Eze quite well as well, so I know obviously Mark
Why does
playing
he
with
say
Mark
that
at Chelsea as well, so yeah.
Here's one thing. Why does he say that he knows Eddie Nketiah well from growing up at Chelsea at youth level? I get, obviously, Mark Gahey makes sense. Gahey was in the Chelsea Academy, but Nketiah was not in the Chelsea Academy. I think he came out of the Arsenal Academy. Maybe he means the England, like, lower squads, like youth squads.
Yeah, it's good to be here with the lads again.
Them boys, obviously, a few of them got off on international duty, but the first couple of weeks here must have been a good settling in period for you.
Yeah, most definitely. As I said, ever since I came here, I felt welcome.
He's so
it's like
big.
a small group here, small family, and yeah, it's been amazing. A few weeks.
Obviously, you're on loan. What are you
So
hoping
good.
to achieve
So
in that
good.
time? Do you have any goals? Do you have any aims? Any aspirations? What's
Daniel,
your
stop
Been
being triggered. I
playing
know
in
you're
the Premier
triggered
League
on
for
screen.
3 years now. I think I've got
Don't
a lot of
disconnect,
experience
Daniel.
now, and it's for me it's just getting as many games in as possible and helping the team. Obviously, Crystal Palace are a very good team in the Premier League, and I'm really excited for the season. I think we can go and do great things.
What's the manager said to you since joining him? So you had a chance to sit down and have a good chat with him now. What is he looking for from you as well?
Yeah, he's welcomed me in nicely and just to show my qualities, my defensive qualities, and help boost the back line, and hopefully we can keep as many.
All right, Daniel. If Trevmate gets into the England senior squad after this season, or by January, let's say, will you? And if he puts in, I guess he'll have to have put in some performances, right? If he does get into the England senior squad, if he gets into if he puts in those performances for Crystal Palace and he gets into the senior squad, will you go back on your opinion of Trev Mate? That's what I want to know.
Many clean sheets.
And I guess you're looking forward to this sort of time at the club, being on the good side of the team when you step onto the Selhurst Park pitch.
Yeah, I can't wait. Obviously, I've played at Selhurst before, and the atmosphere is there is very good, and yeah, it's good to obviously being on the home
Lost
side now.
opportunity,
And, yeah,
man.
can't wait to meet the fans. I will give it my all this season, and I'm ready to fight for the badge, and hopefully we can do great things today.
It's a good question. Has Trev Mate ever appeared for England? Let's head on over to FODMob and see real quick. No, he is not. So not only that, it would be like he'd be a debutant. So that would really prove his worth, wouldn't it? Looks like he went from the U21 to the U20. That's just the way that it's. Who knows if that's actually accurate? But yeah, we could see him do really well for Crystal Palace this season. I think it's a distinct possibility next to Mark Gahey. But by the way, it's not just me. Stop gaslighting me. I'm not the only one. You know, for the longest time talking to you, Daniel, I thought that I was the only one that felt this strongly about Trev Mate. You go on comment sections or on some of his Instagram posts, people are just like, how the hell is Trev Mate not in the squad? People agree with me. People think this as well. I'm not the only one floating this. But we're moving on. Okay, so you don't have to listen to my hot takes. I just thought it'd be nice to check that out. Nice to check in. I like checking in with Chelsea loanees. I like checking in with Chelsea alumni for that matter, even if they're sold off. Depends on if I've liked them or not. Maybe it's like a let's check in on them and hate on them, like Thibaut Courtois, for instance. I hate check on that guy. I want him to lose every time I see him play. It's not just because he plays for Real Madrid. I'm a Barca guy if I have to be, but not that I care that much, but just putting that out there. All right, this one is more of the world football news as requested by some people, but I actually thought it was interesting because I do referee the game in my spare time, but yeah. So I always find this interesting, especially when I think, like, at the outset, wow, this is really stupid and really a losing idea. But being that I referee and I love to analyze the way decisions are made and the way the direction of refereeing and the laws of the game are going, I thought this was an interesting article, and so I thought I would bring it to you fine folks out on the interspaces. From ESPN, Fans versus VAR, Norway's fight for football's future. In Oslo, Norway, quote, "You're here to talk about VAR?" I don't know how you pronounce that, Michael. Looks like Michael, but not sure how Norwegians would pronounce that. A pint of lager in one hand and jabbing his finger with the other, said, "It's all bull spit. Nobody wants it here." Okay. This is Norway, ranked the 7th happiest country in the world earlier this year by the World Population Review. What? So Daniel Stock says that the article is immediately discredited because it is from ESPN, only like one of the largest, if not the largest, sports news institution on the planet. But okay, we're going to read it anyway. I find it interesting. This is Norway. Just not for soccer? Maybe that's the case, but ESPN FC is like one of the biggest shows actually too, as far as soccer is concerned. That's like saying Americans, and you know, there are people that feel this way. Americans have no business talking about soccer. You know what? Suck an egg, dude. You don't have a freaking monopoly on soccer, football, whatever it is. I even like to call it football because it makes more sense to me. Not only just because, obviously, I don't know if you heard the intro to this show, the creators of the game named the game football. Yes, that should be the name that you call the game by, but right? But also you play it with your feet. Okay, but I don't think that the English have a monopoly on talking soccer. All right, tell that to the Spanish. Okay, just because the Americans aren't that great yet, we will be. That show, ESPN FC, he's referring to Daniel Stock, is tragic other than Kay Murray, who came over from BN Sport. Nobody knows who Kay Murray is. Nobody cares who Kay Murray is. And the funniest thing is, like, it's not that I love the guys on ESPN FC, I would say, I don't want to say I hate them, but I kind of like to hate on them. Probably in the same way Daniel Stock likes to hate on me, but shows up anyway because he's a good boy. But I love, like, you know, I do love, what's the guy's name with the glasses? He's my favorite one, the Scottish one, who actually played for Liverpool and was quite good for Liverpool back in the day. What's his name, Daniel? Come on. Let me look him. ESPN FC. People. I don't even know what to call them. What's his name? ESPN FC guests. What are the guests? The pundits. Okay, so there's Shaka Hislop. Obviously. Okay, wait. What's his name? Killing me. Stevie Nicol. He's my favorite one just because, I mean, it's not that I agree with him. I often hate his opinions, but I just think he cracks me up. Anyway, back to this article. This is Norway, ranked the 7th happiest country in the world earlier this year by the World Population Review, and usually a place where life occurs in relative serenity. But VAR, video assistant referee, has given many Norwegians something to get angry about. So angry, in fact, that they have taken to disrupting professional football games by throwing objects onto the pitch in what have become almost weekly protests against the VAR. You couldn't get any dumber, although I did put out that poll. Maybe people disagree. So far, so not. Match days have become a scene in which fans throw fish cakes. Nowhere else in the world will anybody throw fish cakes on the pitch. Fish cakes is a distinctly Norwegian item to throw on the pitch, apparently. What a ridiculous thing to throw on the pitch. Maybe fish sticks. Maybe like in England, you might see fish sticks or battered fish, right? But fish cakes, I don't know about that. That seems weird. Champagne corks, another item, and croissants onto the pitch against what they perceive to be the invasive technology of VAR. Why? Because a growing number of Norwegian football supporters, along with players and executives, want Norway to scrap VAR and, in doing so, become the first country in the world to ditch the controversial system. Dan Stock says, I can't believe you don't know Kay Murray. Clearly you missed out on a great era of television during the golden age of BN Sport. The Locker Room was a truly fantastic program. Maybe I did see Kate Murray and I just don't remember her. There was a time where you were forced to watch BN because they were the only network that were playing the Bundesliga or La Liga, more importantly, and even some other games. I don't know, some other competitions. But the network was okay, but I don't know. I always had trouble streaming it. So it was a pain in the butt. Martin's Pub in Lillestrøm, Norway, a 10-minute train ride from the capital in Oslo, is a hive of activity on Storgata, the town's otherwise sleepy main street. It's Sunday lunchtime and the shops are closed. Joggers and dog walkers are the only people around apart from the yellow-shirted Lillestrøm SK supporters who have gathered at Martin's ahead of the team's Eliteserien game against Tromsø. I probably shouldn't have picked this article just because Norwegian is so hard to pronounce. So I was never going to get any of these right. Daniel Stock says, don't worry, I'll educate you about soccer next week. You will? Oh, thanks, Daniel. You're so sweet. So nice. So sweet. So helpful. Michael, a card-carrying member of the Lillestrøm Supporters Club, is holding court as ESPN chats to Morgan Gallison and Hogner Trim, a pair of Lillestrøm fans and podcasters who have become the voice of the fans' opposition to VAR through their group, Harde Motak. Hard reception. They hand out stickers and a car air freshener in Lillestrøm's colors, both with F VAR and the image of a supporter making offensive hand gestures. Some fans wear t-shirts bearing the same message. Okay. Remember those high-profile incidents that wouldn't have happened without VAR? Take the failure to award a goal at the 2010 World Cup when Frank Lampard's shot for England hit the bar and dropped behind the goal line in defeat to Germany, or the inability of the officials to spot Thierry Henry's goal-creating handball in a World Cup playoff for France against the Republic of Ireland in 2009. VAR was supposed to eradicate those controversies and make the game fairer when it was introduced in 2017 following several years of trials. VAR has provided a safety net to catch those game-changing mistakes, but for those opposed to the technology, that's beside the point. They despise the lengthy delays for decisions to be made, often by officials in windowless rooms many miles from the stadium, and hate the fear of celebrating a goal because the inevitable VAR check either delays their joy or kills it completely after finding a reason to disallow the goal. Minuscule offside calls, confusing handball decisions, referees urged to review their decisions by their remote VAR assistants. It all combines to create vocal and vehement opposition from fans. Australia's A-League became the first professional league to use VAR in April 2017, followed by MLS in the United States in August that year. Gradually, over the intervening years, virtually every major league and competition in world football has adopted VAR, yet rather than ending controversy, VAR has instead become a lightning rod for even greater anger and disenchantment on and off the pitch. Last season in the Premier League, the referees body Premier League Game Match Officials Ltd PGMOL admitted significant human error when referee Simon Hooper wrongly ruled out a Luis Diaz goal for offside when Liverpool went to Tottenham. So sad. Sad day for VAR. Liverpool ultimately lost 2-1 that day, but the Diaz decision was pivotal. Obviously, it was 2-1. The score was tied 0-0 when Diaz thought he'd given the Reds the lead, but video assistant referee Darren England failed to inform the official that Diaz had actually been onside. During Euro 2024, two separate handball decisions involving VAR also led to controversy. A penalty was given against Denmark's Joachim Andersen during the round of 16 defeat against Germany after referee Michael Oliver had reviewed the incident by VAR, but in Germany's quarterfinal against Spain, another handball by Marc Cucurella was not reviewed, despite the Spain defender's left hand blocking a goal-bound shot. Fans and players seem to be enraged by VAR on a weekly basis, yet nowhere has seen supporter apathy and unrest become as visible and organized as Norway, which may yet turn out to be the first country in the world to abolish VAR. The Norwegian Football Federation has reacted to recent protests by announcing a review and consultation period with clubs and supporters. It is due to deliver its findings in November, and the outcome could be the scrapping of VAR in Norway and the setting of a precedent that could have wide-reaching consequences for VAR throughout world football. Quote, "If you look at Norwegian history with making protests, we tend to just accept things for what they are and believe in our leaders," Trim told ESPN. "We're not French. We don't go out and demonstrate and protest or set cars on fire and stuff like that. We don't really do that. But when it comes to VAR, I think people in Norway are willing to go really far to stop it. It's not about being anti-technology. It's being pro-passion and trying to get rid of something that sort of F's your passion. It's a nightmare for any football fan." Norway introduced VAR at the start of the 2023 Eliteserien season, but from the outset it was unpopular. There has not been one standout incident to trigger the protests, just a sense that VAR was an unwanted intrusion in the Norwegian games. It seems to me that they're really making so far, and it seems like a theme in this article, that like this organization is not necessarily, is more concerned with the flow and passion of the game than they are with getting the right decision. Now, it's obviously one thing to talk about VAR making bad decisions, not operating correctly, and getting things wrong. Okay, so perhaps they could make the argument, look, they're making all these wrong decisions, getting things wrong anyway, and you're messing up the flow and passion and dynamic nature of a football game for fans. We don't get to celebrate when something happens, it's delayed, blah, blah, blah. And also you're getting everything wrong. Okay, that seems to sort of be the best argument they have right now. I'm going to have to generally disagree. It seems still very stupid to me, but seems they're very organized about this, and it's going places in Norway apparently. Ever since VAR was introduced in Norway, there has been a fair bit of resistance among supporters. Ole Hansen, a reporter with Norwegian media outlet Nettavisen, told ESPN. It was a big story already in the first season, but this season the attention has grown because of the ongoing protests from supporters and the means of action they have used. In 2023, there were minor protests, banners, chants, and such, but this season there have been more radical means like throwing fish cakes, tennis balls, pastry, and other things on the pitch. I mean, I'd rather have some pastry thrown on the pitch while I'm on it than fish cakes. I'm going to go back to that fish cake thing being weird, kind of gross, and let's move on. In some games, supporters have also chosen to leave the stadium in the middle of matches to take a stand against VAR. Pretty stupid. Ole Hansen continued, the biggest story so far is the match between Rosenborg and Lillestrøm in July. Because of protests from both club supporter groups throwing fish cakes on the pitch, the referee chose to abandon the game. Wow. Really? I mean, I'm a referee. I got to be honest. It's not in our advisory or in the laws of the game to abandon the game when fish cakes are thrown on the pitch. Well, actually, that's not true. If there is enough dissent out of the crowd, the spectators, you can actually abandon the game. And usually, whichever team's supporters are creating the biggest disruption and are dissenting, that's the team that usually forfeits the match. So, well, first you'll like yellow card, and then maybe second yellow card the head coach of the team or manager if you prefer. The fish cake incident at Rosenborg elevated the Norwegian, and then sorry, just to clarify, it's incumbent on the coach to go and settle down his own supporters. I don't know at the pro level if that is still the case, but probably is, I imagine. The fish cake incident at Rosenborg elevated the Norwegian VAR protests from a national issue to a global story. It was the first time a game had ever been abandoned in Norway because of supporter unrest. There you go. But the fish cakes were supposed to create an altogether different outcome. As I say, I imagine whoever supporters those supporters were that were dissenting, unless it was a mix of them, then that could be a real issue. But if it was one team's supporters, then that team will be forfeiting the game, most likely. At Lillestrøm, we were the first club to protest against VAR, and the Rosenborg fans had been slow to get involved in the movement. Lillestrøm fan Galassen said, so we had banners saying, what are you going to do for the fish cake game? The fish cake game. So when the Rosenborg fans started to throw, everything's about fish cakes. So when the Rosenborg fans started to throw fish cakes onto the pitch, it was funny. After it happened, their fans told us that because their stadium is close to the sea and always surrounded by seagulls, the idea was to throw so many fish cakes onto the pitch that a flock of seagulls would arrive and go crazy and force the game to be delayed. It didn't quite work out like that, but the impact turned out to be pretty big. What a freaking plan. Guys, we need to do something huge here, all right? We need something huge. We need to do something about this VAR thing that's ruining this game for us. So now, hear me out, guys. Hear me out. We could throw bottles. We could throw coins, as has been done in the past in England and other places. We could throw any other thing, but let's throw fish cakes. Fish cakes, guys. The answer is fish cakes. We're right by the sea. Guess what happens when you throw a bunch of fish cakes on the pitch? Seagulls. We're talking about fish cakes, Daniel. Daniel wants to know if we're talking about Norwegian VAR. Right now, we're talking about the great Norwegian plan to abolish VAR by throwing fish cakes on the pitch to attract seagulls and therefore delay the game enough to force some kind of movement on the Norwegian VAR issue. So this is the great Norwegian plan of attack. It is the fish cake strategy, we shall call it. The fish cake strategy. Okay. We'll move on, though, for y'all. Must be a slow news week. Every week's a slow news week for you, Daniel, when you don't enjoy my choice of topic. But here we go. We're moving on for you. Although the Lillestrøm were the first club to actively voice their opposition to VAR last year, their fans reacted to a stoppage time penalty winner at Rosenborg last season by sitting down and refusing to celebrate because the spot kick had been awarded by VAR. Supporters from across the country at a variety of clubs have joined the campaign. See, that makes a little more sense than fish cakes, but okay. Fish cakes might be more effective. At the Oslo Derby between Vålerenga and Lyn, fans were buying T-shirts bearing the slogan "VAR, it's not here to stay." This is still Norwegian. This is all Norway, Gabe. Gabe asks if this is still Norwegian. This is all Norway. The fish cake strategy, the anti-VAR movement is a distinctly Norwegian movement, and their approach with the fish cakes is distinctly Norwegian as well. VAR, it's not here to stay, Lyn fans had disrupted a previous game by throwing champagne corks onto the pitch to reflect their reputation as being the most affluent Western district of the capital. Stop sleeping, all right? This is funny too, all right? Champagne corks? Who flaunts their affluence, okay? That's their protest? We're almost done. Both clubs are in Norway's second tier, which doesn't use VAR. They don't even use VAR. They don't even use VAR. These two clubs, Vålerenga and Lyn. You've got to be kidding me. They're protesting it. They don't even use VAR. Okay. If that's not ridiculous, I don't know what is. I mean, come on. I'm gonna read faster though because I'm laughing too much, and then I'm delaying the article. Brand Bergen fans used a remote-controlled car with a pyrotechnic flare attached to halt a game last month, while Bodo Glimt fans threw fish balls on the pitch to disrupt their game against Haugesund. They just love fish byproducts, prompting the club's general manager Frode Thomassen to ban 9 supporters for 30 games because of their involvement. To continue with such childish streaks is to kill football, Thomassen told TV2. It's not about football, not about VAR. I find it incredibly sad and boring. As Thomassen's comments suggest, the anti-VAR protests don't have the universal support. Obviously, because it's stupid, unless, some people are voting, actually, that it's not stupid, so maybe I'll be less opinionated on this. When the Rosenborg-Lillestrøm game was abandoned, it was eventually restaged behind closed doors last month. There was upset among fans who had seen just 32 minutes of football before the game was called off. Quote, regular people, those who maybe watch a few games in a season, get their experience ruined, Nattavisen journalist Hansen said. After the Rosenborg-Lillestrøm match, there were crying children outside the stadium. They just hated fish cakes and fish balls. Rosenborg is a bit like Norway's Manchester United. They have supporters from all over the land, and many had traveled long distances for the game. However, surveys conducted by Norwegian media hint at a widespread dissatisfaction with VAR among players. A poll by Aftenbladet, a newspaper from the western port city of Stavanger, found that only one member of the Viking Stavanger squad was satisfied with VAR. Well, satisfied and want VAR going forward are two different things. In May, the national Norwegian newspaper Nyso found that only 1 in 4 Eliteserien players supported VAR. I would like to see VAR go, but I don't think the NFF will do it. Tromsø midfielder Runar Norheim told ESPN, there's no fun with VAR. You can't celebrate a goal spontaneously, and that's the worst part of it. That's the worst part of it, apparently. You guys really pushing to stop this? I mean, don't you want to know what happens with the fish cake movement? I mean, I'm interested, but if you guys really don't want to hear about it, then we can skip it. Everybody's falling asleep here, apparently. I find this interesting. I find it quite fascinating, not just that just Norway itself is like so anti-VAR, but the way that they're going about protesting it is hilarious to me. How do you not find this funny? Do you guys both really? Do you even know Vålerenga, traditionally Norway's best supported team? They sit top of the second division and are on course to be promoted back to Elite Serien after 1 year absence this season. Team captain Christian Borchgrevink, got that right, I think, hopes VAR is scrapped in time for the club's top flight return. Without doubt, we would like to remove it from Norwegian football, Borchgrevink told ESPN. For me, it's killing the game. I think our fans at Vålerenga and the Norwegian fans as well, they have a big pride in the old game and the feelings of it. For them and for me as well, VAR is a big opponent of all of that. All right, you know what we'll do? We'll cut it off over there. Well, maybe we'll resume it. But in the meanwhile, let's talk about liking, subscribing to the channel, possibly hitting the bell. Why? Don't say that. We're in the middle of a like, subscribe, hit the bell, do those things. I was just reacting to Gabe C's comment here. I am not a fan of VAR anyway. What are you talking about? There's no way forward without VAR, in my opinion. Okay, take this from a referee, whatever that's worth. I'm sure you put 100 referees in a room, 50 will think one thing, another 50 will think another thing. Just because VAR, now, okay, I'll finish this thought. Just because VAR is not in its greatest iteration yet does not mean that it isn't the way forward, okay? Just because VAR makes mistakes, it isn't run efficiently, hasn't exactly done what ideally it could do, it doesn't mean that it's not the future of refereeing the game. I believe that it is. I certainly believe that it is. It just needs to be better than it is now. There's some problems, many problems. Okay, so Gabe says he agrees with me, but he just finds it effing annoying. He's old school. Now, let me ask you this. Is it that it gets things wrong, or is it just that it's annoying and it ruins the flow of a match? And you want to be able to celebrate a goal if the goal is given right on the spot. Because if that's the case, what if VAR was quicker? What if all the, or at least, let's say, 50% or 75% more of the decisions were instant or much quicker than they're done right now. There's less deliberation, less of a gap in time, just like a quicker, a delay, but much shorter delay. And that could be something that they could probably improve to better the marriage of VAR and the game. What happens next, and how likely is Norway to become the first country in the world to abandon VAR? When the Wolverhampton Wanderers forced a vote to scrap VAR in the Premier League at the end of last season, their motion was defeated by 19 votes to 1. And within the hierarchy of English top flight, there's little appetite to change VAR, only to support it. Look at that. Before VAR, 82% of the decisions were made were deemed to be correct. Tony Scholes, the Premier League's chief football officer, said last January. In the season so far, that figure is 96%. Daniel Stock says, VAR is fine. Just no more Norway or fish cakes. Well, tell that to Norway, Daniel. Last month, Howard Webb, the head of PGMOL, said it was unrealistic to expect VAR to be universally popular. He says, some of the criticism we get around VAR is simply because people don't like the final outcome, Webb said. I think they expected when this thing came in to always agree with the final outcome. That's simply not possible. That's not a position we can ever get to. And I actually have to agree with Howard Webb. I think people are pissed off when whatever it is, whatever the decision on the pitch that would benefit them is overturned and vice versa. This isn't my main story, Daniel. This is just, well, I am a referee, so the fact that it is of central interest to me it does make kind of sense. But the landscape is different in Norway, however, with the movement against VAR much more organized and vociferous in an attempt to remove it from the Norwegian game. It may not come to that, of course, but the NFF is now committed to hearing the opinions of clubs, players, and fans, even if the organization is against the methods that have led to the launching of a review. Check this out. Okay, Mark Clattenburg, we're skipping ahead, okay? Just because you're such a pain in my tushy right now. Mark Clattenburg, former Premier League referee who worked as Nottingham Forest referee analyst last season, believes that the outcome of the consultation in Norway could impact similar leagues, but not the major European leagues. There are pros and cons, Clattenburg told ESPN. Sweden voted not to use VAR, and the Norwegian FA is now consulting various groups about VAR, but leagues of that size need to consider the financial side of VAR and cost compared to the benefit. The consequences of refereeing decisions in the Premier League or Serie A, for example, would be much greater than those in Norway due to the financial strength of the leagues. So one issue will be whether deploying VAR is cost effective, which does make sense. That does make a lot of sense, since Norwegian leagues definitely bring in a lot more venue. VAR is very costly. They might be more willing to get rid of VAR. Ultimately, if Norway votes to get rid of VAR, it won't have a domino effect on the biggest leagues. There is simply too much at stake financially for those leagues to abandon it. But for smaller nations, the negatives might outweigh the benefits, certainly from a financial perspective. Time will tell how this battle plays out. Okay, we don't care about Norway, apparently. Daniel doesn't care about Norway, but it is what we call the stiff lips, Sebastian Hitten, leader of Vålerenga's Klanen fan group, told ESPN. The NFF guys eat their croissants and drink their coffee every time they create a new working group. This is now the 4th or 5th time they're going to investigate how to use VAR, so more time for coffee and pastries, apparently. With the consultation due to report findings in November and the NFF committed to a final decision on VAR before March 2025, I'm sure Daniel Stock will be waiting with bated breath to find out what the NFF does in Norway in relation to VAR before March 2025. The future of football is in Norwegian hands. Do you believe that? Is the future of football in Norwegian hands? Mark Clattenburg said it isn't. The football world will be watching. Okay, you got your wish, all right? Maybe you didn't find it that interesting. I did find it interesting. Why? Because the implications of what goes on in Norway seemed to maybe have an effect on the rest of the footballing world. Maybe, as Mark Clattenburg said, maybe not on the top European leagues, which was a good point that I hadn't thought of. So maybe it was worth finishing the article. Daniel, Gabe, okay. I thought it was worth it. Now we know. Now we know. And guess what? I still support VAR. So far, so VAR. Okay. We will move on. Quickly move on to the next article of the day. I know you guys were all very curious when I said that the greatest left back to ever play the game. When I mentioned what was on the docket today, I said that the greatest left back ever is set to leave Birmingham and join FA as full-time coach. Who is the greatest left back ever, you might ask? Daniel, Gabe, who's the greatest left back ever? Can you guess? Maybe you just knew who the Birmingham coach was. I'll show y'all. There he is. Greatest left back ever, set to leave Birmingham and join the FA as full-time coach. Ashley Cole is set to leave Birmingham City and join the Football Association on a full-time basis. The FA confirmed in August that Cole would assist Lee Carsley during his temporary spell in charge of the England men's national team. Cole assumed that responsibility alongside his duties as a first-team coach for Birmingham and helped oversee wins against the Republic of Ireland and Finland in the UEFA Nations League. So important, so crucial that England won those games. I kind of consider myself part of as a we in the England setup. Okay, I might be a US supporter, but I'm also a Premier League supporter. I also love this game we call football, soccer. I love it. And guess who created it? The English. So I'm always going to have a special place in my heart for the English national team, and definitely for the greatest left back that ever played the game, Ashley Cole. The 43-year-old previously worked with Carsley at under 21 level, during which he continued in roles at Chelsea, Everton, and then Birmingham. Are you telling me you're not buying that? Daniel Stock, You don't believe that Ashley Cole is the greatest left back to ever play the game? How is that? Are you even a Chelsea fan? I thought everybody would be like, yeah, he's right. He's right. Correct. Gabe? Lurkers out there? I know there are lurkers out there. What do you guys think? Maybe you're just not too keen on engaging in the chat, but you're more than welcome to engage in the chat because Daniel Stock and Gabe C have a monopoly on this chat right now. Gabe fell asleep. Yeah, because apparently only a couple of you want to engage, and that's okay. You're welcome to lurk. You're welcome to lurk. Oh, come on. The Norway article was great. Everybody wants to know about VAR. Everybody wants to hate VAR. Not me. Well, you have your opportunity to vote in that poll. And you don't have to engage. That's okay. That's okay. I'm not shaming you for not engaging. I just like to hear your voices. But, you know, being around, subscribing to the channel, and hanging around for future shows, that's the most important thing. If you decide to engage at some point, please go for it. Please. Very welcome. Very welcome. But now Cole, the greatest left back ever, is to depart the club game and focus solely on his international commitments. It is unclear if the move suggests Carsley will be retained beyond the 3 international breaks he has been asked to lead England for. However, that is obviously an option while the FA ponders who should succeed Gareth Southgate at the helm. I don't think it's going to be Carsley. Not a big enough name, but who knows? Maybe the FA wants to do something else. Either way, Cole has impressed the governing body sufficiently to be kept on indefinitely, whether that be in his existing role or another. He's been doing great at Chelsea. I wish he would stay at Chelsea. No, it's not coming. I dismissed it. Daniel says insert phone alarm because my phone alarm always goes off at this time. And because he was poking fun at me last stream or the stream before about that phone alarm, I deactivated it. The FA gave Carsley the September games with a view to remaining in the position throughout autumn. The 50-year-old, who temporarily stepped away from his under-21 post to take the job, seems to have made a good early impression and appears popular among the playing squad, many of whom know him from age group level. And to be fair, they're winning games. They're winning games, however insignificant. These teams are taking the Nations League somewhat seriously. There is something to be said about just winning games. Cole joined Birmingham in October 2023 after Wayne Rooney's appointment as manager. He has stayed under subsequent bosses Tony Mowbray, Gary Rowett, and Chris Davies. The former left back, greatest left back to ever play the game, was part of the coaching setup as Carsley's England team triumphed at the 2023 European Under-21 Championship. Fellow ex-England defender Joleon Lescott, we all know him from his City days and among other teams. I think he played at Aston Villa too. And the FA's head of coaching, Tim Dittmer, were also appointed last month to support Carsley. Cole was capped 107 times by his country, 7 more times than Harry Kane, between 2001 and 2014, and later followed Frank Lampard to Derby County, Chelsea, and Everton. Southgate stepped down as England boss. We know that in July after their European Championship final defeat against Spain, having spent 8 years in the job. 8 years, too long. Sorry, buddy. But yeah, not a big fan of Southgate or what he did at England. Easy to say after the fact. So we could go into the fact that Newcastle is having a civil war, but we're already at 9 p.m. So why not? Let's go straight to this. This was Gabe's recommendation actually, and it's a pretty I guess you could call it interesting. It was interesting. From goal.com, Chelsea fans urged club to sell Wesley Fofana after defender does a Lukaku, right? Chelsea fans have urged the club to get Wesley Fofana out after he declared his admiration for Marseille. I'm gonna say it now. I think it probably has a little bit a little bit also to do with the fact that he just like chastised and caused all sorts of turmoil after chastising Enzo Fernandez. Although some people hate Enzo Fernandez, so I guess they don't care. But anyway, what happened in an interview with Freefoot, Fofana has revealed that he one day hopes to play for Marseille. Ooh, as he is a supporter of the League Giants, having grown up in the city. The defender, signed by the Blues in a £70 million deal in 2022, has not played for Les Phocéens. I don't know how you pronounce that. Yeah, who hates him, Daniel? But he did begin his career in France with Saint-Étienne. He said, Olympique Marseille, we'll see one day. I still have a contract until 2029. We'll see. Marseille is my city, my club. I am an Olympique Marseille supporter. We'll see if I end up being at Marseille in a few years or if I stay at Chelsea for the rest of my career. He also revealed he considered a move to the club, adding, I had a talk with Marseille that really touched me. It was from Olympique Marseille director Mehdi Benatia. It was special. I thought about it, but there you go. The current objective is to succeed at Chelsea, to establish myself at my club. And just to be clear, if I'm not mistaken, he also talked about, I don't know if he had this chat with Mehdi Benatia at this time, but he talked about, this is against Fofana, he talked about how he considered leaving the club after the whole Enzo Fernandez debacle with the chant, the song. He said it was racist. A bunch of Chelsea players apparently unfollowed Enzo Fernandez after Fofana brought it all up. So that also kind of speaks to the situation, speaks to the loyalty to the club. And I can understand a little bit how that sort of pisses fans off even more. If he's thinking, oh, maybe I'll go. I don't think he meant that he was going to leave to Olympique Marseille, but he said he considered leaving Chelsea when all of that popped up. I don't want to be in the team with that racist, apparently, is what he was thinking. What some fans are saying, these random fans that this article has chosen to highlight, Clinical Nico said in reference to Romelu Lukaku seeking a move from Chelsea to that infamous interview with Sky Italia in December 2021. FFS for F's sake, he doing a Lukaku? If y'all remember, Lukaku was saying how he was talking about how what was it? Was it Inter? He was talking about leaving Chelsea maybe to go to Inter. He was basically just saying, my heart is still in Inter or something like that. Jake D811 added, go today. Meanwhile, Haroldinho wrote, ship him. Spent 2 years in the hospital wing, earning $250K a week, and then comes out flirting with a mid-table French side. Fawaz Notion said, you're free to go, dog. You're not all that. You're free to go, dog. Kofi Boakai 2 said, get him the F out of the club. January now. CFC Dubois concluded, Fofana openly saying he was considering leaving the club. One regular day of Chelsea will never happen. What does that even mean? But I guess the point is there's a lot of drama going on at the club. And yeah, I wouldn't... I think to say that he was considering leaving just because of the debacle with Fernandez that got settled is pretty fickle and whatever. Think what you want about it. I'm not going to make any, let's say, comments or conclusions about what Fernandez said necessarily in the chant and whatever. Who really knows if he knew how offensive it was or whatever. We don't need to get into that. But the point is that Fofana's already trying to leave the club just because, something the player said was offensive to him. What? It's like he wasn't in the locker room with Fernandez until then. He didn't know the kid. So Daniel Stock is saying that Wes Fofana is better than Trevmate. Well, Gabe C says Fofana can F and leave. I kind of understand it. But more because of bro, it's like you were in the locker room with Fernandez. You don't want to. Here's the other thing. This is important. And I've mentioned this before. Forget about this interview, whatever. The point is his head seems to be in the wrong spaces, and that can be very, very toxic for a locker room. Okay, that sort of attitude towards other players, or that sort of forcing other players to walk on eggshells around you, is definitely a way to kill the vibe in the locker room and kill chances of actually winning things. That could be the case. I'm not saying that is the case with Fofana. I'm just saying that could be the case. Okay, it definitely felt that way with Lukaku. It felt that way for me, even though he wasn't at Chelsea, but with like Paul Pogba at Manchester United, like he wasn't getting the minutes that he wanted, whatever. Then he starts being toxic, and the team starts to play just extremely poorly with him, and I don't know. It just feels like that sort of an attitude can kill a team. Doesn't matter the quality you have in the locker room, on the pitch, on the roster. Fofana has played 90 minutes in all 3 games thus far this season. Last season, after battling back from a knee injury, he made 15 league appearances and, as he has mentioned, has a contract that runs for another 5 years. Roid rage for Pogba. Dan Stock says roid rage for Pogba. You think so? I don't know what the story is with him in that whole roiding situation. Like, he came back not clean. He really destroyed his career, Pogba. It seems like, okay, at the end of the day, you have to eventually say, like, so much crap is surrounding this guy's name and this guy's career that it's like, it has to be a little bit of him, doesn't it? Just got to be a little bit of you, Paul. Got to be a little bit of you, my friend. I mean, you can't keep going saying, this wasn't my fault, that wasn't my fault. Seems to me that eventually people are going to start thinking, it's you a little bit. It's you, my friend. But that seems to be the case there. And we'll leave that at that. We could either check out Newcastle's Civil War, or we could go straight to Instagram for the Chelsea boys. Why don't we check out the Chelsea boys on Instagram a little bit? Ooh, boom. Oh, Renato Vega. Renato, one of our most important players. Look at all these cute. Who the hell is that, bro? Oh, it's his girl. Oh, that's cute. So cute. You know what? I kind of like Vega. I'm going to say this. I do. Actually, it's Renato, isn't it? I don't think he pronounces it Renato like the Brazilians do. I think it's Renato Vega. I liked his post-match reaction after Servette. I thought he was like the most honest. He had the most honest reflection of anybody else. That we just got through and it wasn't a great day at the office, basically. Like, don't say we won. Like, we didn't win, okay? But I liked his attitude. What is going on with this guy? No! That is so cringe, bro. Why are you publicly dancing? No! That is cringe, bro. That is so cringe. I'm not sure what's more cringe. Is it that, or was it the whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, U.S. Open, I believe in a thing called love moment? I think this is maybe a little bit more. No, probably the other one is a little more cringe. Can't even see what's going on here. His car's lit up. All right. What? Dan talking about, Asaf talking about cringe, saying that it's cringe. Now that's cringe, bro. I just gotta say, that is cringe. Please, do me a favor. You know what I'm starting to see? I'm starting to feel like I look a little bit like Joao. Maybe a little bit. Maybe not. Who do I look more like, Enzo or Joao? No, I don't think so. Maybe Neto? Do I look like Neto? No. I don't look like any of them, do I? Let's bring up Fabregas. I usually don't think I look like anybody, to be honest, but the Fabregas thing has been brought up. Okay, let's go to the stories. Bro, yeah. Still posting? I mean, about Everton? You're there, bro. Sterling. Arsenal enjoy that. 10 million pounds we're paying for him. Dewsbury Hall. Look at this. Fun with the boys. Dan Stock's favorite player, Nicholas Jackson. Yeah, bro, you better work on that running because everything else, it ain't happening. Did he really think that this picture was that great that he had to post it twice? Corro para llegar antes que el otro. Hey, Gabe, can you translate that? Corro para llegar antes que el otro. What does that mean? Come on, bro. We need Spanish people here. Juan Mata Garcia. I don't know what that means, Daniel. Yeah, in other news, Arteta signs a new Arsenal contract. Good for him. Enjoy Sterling. Yeah. The boys. Mudrick and Disasi in the back, like, these three just like, we don't belong. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I wish for the best. I hope for the best. I hope for the best, y'all. Seriously. Jadon Sancho fitting right in. He's going to do some things. I bet you. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. I see what you mean, Daniel. Yeah, but this is interesting. Like, all of these guys in the foreground are, like, heavy hitters. And then you got these three in the background. Kind of not all doing this stuff. Renato Vega again. That's about it. Isn't it? I think I follow everybody. Yeah. Okay. Well. Oh, you know what? Actually, I did find some of these interesting things. I think Dan Stock, I think we should sign 42-year-old Iniesta. Is he still playing? In Japan? What do you mean? Does he play in Spain again? Are you kidding me? What? No. Oh, maybe he... Is he a former? It doesn't say. It says he's a Spanish midfielder. Is Iniesta still playing? I thought last year he was playing in Japan, maybe? Hold up. Emiratis Club. United Arab Emirates. Yeah, he's still playing. Better than Enzo? Yeah, he's only 40. Honestly, though, 40-year-old Iniesta might not be such a bad idea for somebody. Like, for some clubs, 40-year-old Iniesta, I mean, let's be real. But his wages are probably insane in the UAE. He's probably making a crazy amount on wages. Right? But that's a good point, Daniel. Not a bad point. But I had some interesting little stat sheets. Here we go. From One Football. Let's pull this up right there. That's Cole Palmer. This is 2024. as of, I guess this was 2 weeks ago. So maybe this has changed a little bit. But in 2024, this is goal involvements. Most Premier League goal involvements in 2024. Cole Palmer, number 1, 25 goals. Haaland, 18. Havertz, 17. De Bruyne, 16. Saka, 16, as you can see. That is interesting. You have to say that's a bit interesting, isn't it? Some of the comments. Probably 12 pens. Dude, a pen's a pen. Pen's a pen's a pen. And let's not forget, he had a goal and 3 assists against Wolverhampton. That probably helps his stats a little bit. But stats. This is annoying. Chelsea fans, notice how Havertz is up there? F you, bro. F you, bro. Havertz is saving Arsenal low-key. Hey, Dan Stock, remember when I loved Havertz? Or maybe that's an overstatement. But I certainly gave Havertz his plaudits. And remember when you hated him? Just going to throw that out there. This is all directed at you, my friend. This is all directed at you. Right. So that was one point of interest. He was useless in our system, but that was not his fault. And plus, he wasn't useless, obviously. Obviously, he was very useful when it came to the 2021 Champions League final. But we couldn't find his correct position. We weren't playing him right somehow. But I could always tell you that his quality was obvious. Silky player. Very silky player, man. Definitely underachieved at Chelsea. No question about it. I thought this was an interesting little story. For American fans. I don't speak English. I speak American. I didn't learn to speak the language. This is from Rodri. Speak the language, and it's from CBS Sports Golazo. Anyway, so this is Rodri speaking. I don't speak English. I speak American. I didn't learn to speak the language in Manchester or London. I learned it in the woods in Connecticut. My reference is American English. I know, man. Hey, how you doing, bro? You know, like that's what he thinks of us. That's what he think Americans talk like. When I turned 14, I went to this summer camp in the middle of the forest in Connecticut. I mean, literally almost all of us have done this. Even the name Connecticut sounded crazy for a kid from Madrid. But when I arrived, it was like I was stepping into a Hollywood movie. You know, the movies where the kids go to the camp on the big lake and there's wooden canoes and you're climbing trees and sleeping in tents and starting fires with sticks. It really was like that. It was really like that. Yeah, it was like that. That's how it is, bro. Those are some of the best times of our lives. America created that crap, bro. Thank you. That is distinctly American. And it's awesome. To make it worse, I actually arrived there during the start of the 2010 World Cup. I couldn't even check the internet, so I was in pain. I'm dying. I'm on a canoeing trip, I think. I keep asking the main counselor, please, can you just find out the score? Just imagine this little Spanish Rodri. Please, can you just find out the score? The score, please. His English probably wasn't even good that good back then. It was probably just like, score, please. World Cup. Okay. I don't know where that accent is coming from. Finally, we get back to the cabins and somebody tells me Spain are in the final. I was actually in Spain during this, so that's actually funny. No, I wasn't actually. I was in Spain for the Euro Cup in 2008. I take that back. I never felt so far from home, but also close to home. For the final, I begged the main counselor to let me watch on his computer. I don't know how we did it because we were in the middle of the woods, but I must have found a stream that was not exactly legal, and I watched the final surrounded by Americans who didn't care about what was happening. I gotta say, as big as football is now in America, it was not that big in 2010. In 2010, it was like people had no idea what was up with the sport. Like if you liked football, soccer, whatever you call it, it was like you were a weirdo in 2010. So, but I kind of like that. That was kind of great. You get to be the cool kid, but the cool nerd, or maybe cool is not a word that you could use, but certainly you get to be a little different. So that isn't the case anymore. Now it's basically like another one of the very popular sports. I found this story to be really interesting. It's probably it's the last one that we're going to feature here. It entitled this is from Your Fresh TV Sport. Ronaldinho tells epic story about Lionel Messi. If you don't know about it, tears flooded my eyes. When Messi paid my bail in prison and I got out, I was in a miserable state and very broke. I visited him to thank him. He gave me a Barcelona shirt signed by him and some Barcelona players. He told me, you can sell it. I contacted the iconic website. They will buy it from you. After one day, the site called me, but I refused. I told them, this is a gift from my friend, and I will not sell it. I'm going to sleep on the street and beg for drugs rather than sell this shirt. No, but actually it's a beautiful story. Okay, so he says he will not sell it when they contacted him. But to my surprise, I received money from the site without selling it. I called the site and told them, I told you I don't want to sell it. Why did you transfer the money to my account? The manager said to me, Messi, who asked us for this, he gave us another shirt that looked like it. Tears flooded my eyes. I will never forget what he did to me after being betrayed by everyone. This is why things are going well in his life, because his heart is very pure. So sweet. Look at that. Brings a tear to the eye, doesn't it? Brings a bit of a tear to the eye. What a great guy. You don't even hear about these things, you know? Messi's just like the silent sweetheart. Oh, this was the last one. Okay, this is the last one. For Chelsea fans. 86. This is from Just CFC. Thank you, boys, for posting this. This is some hype. This is some Chelsea hype right here. Let's go. We need this. All right? We're starved. Okay, 86, longest unbeaten home record in the league. Jose Mourinho, the special one. Let's call it like it is. What a boss. Come on. Now he's at Fenerbahce. Okay. 4, least goals conceded in a UCL winning campaign. Okay, so that was probably the recent one. It's awesome. 4 in the whole campaign. That's crazy. 30, first team to win at least 30 Premier League games in a season. Conte. Another great manager, Antonio Conte. Man, he deserves more credit. First British side to field an entire 11 of foreign players. No British or Irish players. Don't care, to be honest. But we're also probably one of the teams to field like the most foreign players in recent times. 29 most consecutive FA Cup games unbeaten, excluding shootouts. Okay, I guess that counts. First club to be named the Ballon d'Or Club of the Year. Okay. Tommy Tushy. Only London team to have won the UEFA Champions League twice. Listen to that, Arsenal fans. Eat that S, Arsenal fans. All right? Arsenal. Losers. I don't see any of you in the comments now, boy. I don't see any of you in the comments now. Arsenal fans will actually think this is Z World Movies or folk tale. This comment right here. Okay, let's see if there's any other Arsenal hate here, actually. Nothing, don't worry, we're not going to scroll forever, but just looking real quick. Yeah. Where are the Arsenal fans now? Where are those Arsenal fans now? All right, let's move on to the next one because these are great. Some of them. 15, the least goals conceded ever in a Premier League season. That I did not know until I saw this. But 15 goals over 38 games. Now that is something and only can be done with Jose Mourinho. Am I right, guys? Am I right? Only club to have held both the Champions League and Europa League at the same time. I'm not sure that is the floss that you think it is, but I mean, it was definitely a saving grace that season, getting that Europa League. So I'm happy for it. especially because we crashed out of the Champions League right after winning it, right? Like in the group stage. That's the only reason we won the Europa League, is because we literally lost in the groups. We're probably one of the only few teams to win the Champions League and then crash out the next season in the group stage. But whatever, I'm not here to put a damper on all these great achievements. 25 most clean sheets ever in a Premier League season. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That probably is the same season where we only gave up 15 goals. I can't say that for sure, but actually let's go back here. Yes, it is. 103, first team to score over 100 goals in a Premier League season. Okay, that's great, but teams have done it since then, especially, I don't know how many Man City scored, but they scored a lot too. But 103 is a lot of goals. First club to win all 3 major European competitions at least twice. How about it? How about it, boys? Azpilicueta. There's some great stats out on Azpilicueta recently. I mean, he is one of the... Oh, somebody said that he was the most underrated transfer in Premier League history. He was like the great... I forget who it was. All right, we'll look at... Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Azpilicueta, best transfer in history. Is this recent? All right, maybe not, but somebody was recently saying that Azpilicueta was like the greatest acquisition in Premier League history, and you have to look at the what he's done for Chelsea and how much he cost Chelsea, and like he was such a like under the radar purchase, like nobody really cared, and then he just turned out to be like one of the greatest stalwarts. I'm just gonna show this again because he's that great. One of the greatest stalwart Chelsea players in the history of the club, right? Just gonna throw that out there, and you know what? We're gonna end the show on that. One last time, I will give my pitch. Do me a favor. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel so I can see you in the future. Hit the bell if you want to know when we go live. Usually it's around 8 p.m. sometime during the week. Love to see you guys. Love to see you engaging in the chat because so far it's mostly Daniel Stock and Gabe C. But sometimes others, which is always a fun and exciting surprise. But get it done. Be that person to get on the list, on that subscription list before we hit 1,000 subscribers, because we are going to hit 1,000 subscribers and then it will be too late. Then the channel will have been too big for you to say you were there before we were so big, although it's not that big anyway, but still it would be fun to get you guys in and get the conversation going. Thanks again for stopping by the live stream. Until I see you guys next time, make sure that you live football and prosper. Peace out, y'all.
Soccer? But it's really called football. Soccer? The creators called it football. Soccer? You know, you play it with your feet. Reading between the headlines. Soccer? But it's really called